America is the land of bright lights and broken dreams, a place that delights and inspires a hunger for fame. It's also a place that some people find hard to leave, even after death.
My name's Gail Porter and I'm a skeptic.
My name is Chris Fleming and I am a sensitive.
It's my mission to investigate alleged sightings and hauntings of Hollywood ghosts.
A sensitive can detect paranormal events beyond the range of the 5 senses.
I wouldn't say I'm a non-believer, but I'm definitely a skeptic.
Together, our mission is to investigate the dead famous. Our search for the spirit of the original aviator, Howard Hughes, will take us from the Los Angeles aircraft hangars, where he built his beloved planes.
Howard Hughes, are you here?
Oh, somebody touched my hair.
To the haunted Boulder Dam Hotel, where he recovered after a devastating plane crash.
Is there anybody up here?
And finally, to the desolate landscape of the Nevada desert.
Did you hear that?
This is what happened to Howard.
Would we find the earthbound ghost of one of America's true heroes? Or would the spirit of Howard Hughes stay resolutely behind the camera?
Where is everybody?
I feel like there's somebody in that room to the left. Howard Hughes was part of the golden age of Hollywood, a movie producer and billionaire. His recent portrayal by Leonardo DiCaprio in the film The Aviator highlighted Hughes' love for planes and flying. But Hughes was also famous for his romances with Hollywood's most glamorous stars.
Howard Hughes was a gifted man. Some would say he was a genius, but with genius often comes madness.
On July 7th, 1946, Hughes crashed one of his experimental planes in this very street in Beverly Hills. He only just survived, but many say his subsequent opiate addictions and crippling OCDs were caused by this accident.
In our search, will we find the glamorous, successful Hughes, or will we find a man crippled with insanity?
Howard Hughes was born in Texas on the 26th of December, 1905. By the age of 19, both Hughes' parents had died, leaving him the family business and making him a millionaire. But Howard was a young man and had his heart set on a different path.
Well, Howard Hughes was very, very wealthy and very, very handsome. And in the Hollywood of the 20s, 30s, and 40s, it was enough to get him a long list of girlfriends at various times, from Katharine Hepburn to Ava Gardner and just about everybody in between.
Though Howard was a great movie maker, his one flaw was his obsessiveness and need for control.
He's famous for, in Hell's Angels, I think, shooting the entire film silent and then reshooting it as a talkie, even considering adding color sequences, recasting parts. So he spent far too much money making that film.
But movies weren't his only obsession. His greatest love was flying.
He was a daring pioneer on the frontiers of aviation, setting all kinds of world records.
Howard Hughes was at home when he was in the cockpit of a plane, believe me.
With this in mind, I believed that the best place to start the search for Hughes' ghost was where he was happiest, amongst the plains and the hangars of California. This took us to Playa Vista, a movie studio in West Los Angeles, and the site of the aircraft plant where he developed his most famous creation, the 200-ton Hercules seaplane. The Hercules was a project that almost broke him. In the years following its completion, his mental health got progressively worse. Eventually, his mind was taken over with paranoia and insanity. Hughes spent the last part of his life living in Vegas hotels, blacking out the windows to ensure his solitude. He died in 1976, aged 71.
Mr. Hughes had a sore in his head and a bone protruding through his shoulder. He had 6 broken hypodermic needles in his arm, and I started crying. What should be a very glamorous story, I think is a sad story.
This is a place where Howard spent a lot of his time. He built Hercules here. A lot of people used to call it Spruce Goose, but he hated that. But I thought it'd be a great place for us to come and see what you can pick up.
Oh, yeah.
What's your first impression?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah?
Is there any records of this place being haunted?
There's a few stories, yeah.
Good.
Come on, let's go find out more.
Now serving as a movie studio, this huge hangar was where Hughes built his beloved plane, the Hercules. He was commissioned by a World War II government to build 4 multi-million-dollar planes. He only managed one, and that single plane only flew a few hundred feet. A derelict building over the road served as Hughes' office, from where he oversaw the production of this fated project.
I walked in, I looked at the magnitude of this building and the massive structure that he created years ago, and was just in awe of actually what he had created here. There's no question that there's a good possibility that maybe his ambiance, his aura, is still with us on these premises.
Workers at the studios have reported unexplained noises, electrical malfunctions, and a strange feeling of being watched whilst working there alone at night. Could this alleged paranormal activity be caused by the spirit of Howard Hughes, back to the place he loved so much in life? As night fell, we started our investigation in the hangar.
Gail, this is great. This place is massive. So what I want to do is I brought some equipment. I've got my EMF detector to see if I pick up any electromagnetic disturbances. Maybe I'll snap some pictures, see if I get anything, and then, of course, I'll be filming with this night vision. Also, see if I can pick up any EVPs. But maybe we'll just walk around and see if we feel any energy, and maybe Howard Hughes is here.
How's you feeling here?
I feel fine. I don't feel any different. But I'm going to see if I get any readings at all.
Unexplained paranormal phenomena, or entities, can disrupt magnetic and electric fields. Chris was using an EMF detector to alert us to possible paranormal activity.
Okay, and if it jumps up to, say, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, somewhere around there, then it becomes interesting, because then we're getting some type of fluctuation that's telling us there's some type of electromagnetic energy there. But if I can sense something and pick it up with this, that'd be pretty interesting. You all right?
Yeah, just you know what I'm like with noises.
No, it's just a...
I know.
Keep clear. Way to go, Gail.
Are you still not picking anything up yet, yourself?
No, I don't feel anything. Nothing. Oof. Gail, I'm really feeling chills right now.
Are you?
Big time. Down here. My legs are shaking. Something is definitely drawing me down here.
What's in there?
Wait a minute, dude. Don't even hear this anymore. There's no sound. The volume just went down on this thing. Like someone turned the volume down. I should constantly be hearing this. And all of a sudden it was like dead. Did you not feel when I came here like the energy changed? Like there was such a calmness or whatever? And this thing was somehow, something turned this down like this.
What could make that happen?
I don't know. Look, it did it again. There's no sound. There's no sound coming from this. I felt like I was walking through sand, okay? Like it was just so thick of energy, completely different than what was in here. I'm gonna put this right here.
Could it not just been a fault?
Does that sound like a fault?
No, but it could have just been something slightly temporary. A glitch.
No, a glitch. No, you have to turn the volume down for the volume to go down. My hands are full.
Chris was convinced by this theory, but I wasn't so sure. We moved further into the hangar to continue our investigation.
Whoa.
What'd you see?
I saw something very quick that moved over here. Come with me.
Like a shadow or an orb?
It was big. It was very big, like a form. Is there anybody else here besides us? If so, come forward. I saw it again, Gail.
What'd you see?
It's like corner of your eye, you see a shadow move. You know, there's stories about shadow people, dark, low-level entities that live in the darkness and the shadows. And they move from one shadow to the next, and the reason is because they're afraid of the light. They can't survive in the light. And they sometimes like to feed off of the life energy of, you know, people like us. And Gail doesn't see this, but I do.
I think he might have knocked the switch himself, and he was just making a mountain out of a molehill. And he thinks he can see shadows, but there are shadows all over the place because there are some lights that don't go off up the top. I don't think there's anything here.
It's like there's two different forms of energy that are here. One of them's not good.
These hangars are vast, and I'm sure that thousands of people must have passed through them over the years. But had Chris actually felt a presence? Could it have been the shadow people he mentioned, or could it have been Howard Hughes himself? We had started our search for the spirit of Howard Hughes at the Playa Vista Studios in California, the place where he built and kept his beloved planes. Although Chris was convinced that paranormal energy had interfered with his EMF detector, I wasn't convinced.
I think he might have knocked the switch himself.
Our next step was to search Hughes' office, and I called in local psychic Karen Page to help us on the investigation.
The office to the north was the communications office. Howard spent a great deal of time in that particular office. Basically, he could sit there and monitor the comings and goings and the landings of all of his aircraft. Now, at the other end of the building, there is a restroom facility that was Howard's private restroom. That was basically where he reviewed his plans. He had a separate corridor right there where he could walk by each one of those offices and check on his engineers, unbeknownst to them.
This is where I led Chris and Karen, hoping they would pick up on Hughes's presence as we ventured into his headquarters. This was a place that was almost a second home for Hughes, and somewhere he spent a great deal of his time. As soon as we arrived at the first floor, Chris and Karen were both pulled to the north side of the office.
This whole corner section here feels like this was his area where he showed off and he said, see what we've done and look out there. Wow.
How do you feel in here?
I don't know, I'm getting like a sense of smiling, which is like, yeah, you know, definitely very boisterous in this room.
We moved further to the north part of the building, where Howard Hughes had his private office, in the hope that Chris and Karen would pick up on further energy.
Wow, it's so strange. The further we go into here, the harder I'm having a time breathing. Sorry.
What's wrong with this room?
I started shaking when I walked in here. Right.
He was really crazy in this room. He would lean against the walls and bang his head.
Don't you feel it in every fiber in your body?
Oh my God.
It's like his brain fractured here. His mind split.
This is the crazy
and nobody
room.
would steal this. Yes, it's like the crazy room.
You've both picked up an amazing amount of energy, and the weird thing is, you got really happy over that side of the building.
Oh, I love that space.
That actual room was the room that Howard used to watch his planes fly in. That's where he was proud of his...
Look what I've done room.
Exactly. Yeah. And this room over here, he used to lock himself in the bathroom with plans, and he was very paranoid and claustrophobic and didn't want anyone to be anywhere near him. So this is like the dark side, and that's the light side, and you both picked up on that.
It was time to continue our investigation alone. Karen and I returned to the positive energy along the corridor, whilst Chris stayed in the part of the building where he'd felt negative energy.
Oh my God, major depression in here. This energy is so strong in here. Oh. I heard get out. I literally felt get out. I gotta get Karen. Gail! Bring Karen here.
What?
I just walked into one of the rooms. It's probably the strongest energy I felt in this whole building. I swear I felt something say get out.
On reviewing the recording from Chris's digital recorder, it seems that he'd picked something up. Could this be the voice of Howard Hughes telling us to get out?
They don't want anybody in here.
Keep going.
They don't want anybody in here.
I know that.
Anybody. Do you understand me?
Yeah, well, I feel it.
That would be me too. I'm leaving.
Why, what's wrong?
I'm leaving.
What's wrong?
You can't stay in there. You can't stay in there. Don't.
I don't like it now. Why not?
It becomes suffocating around you when you walk into it. It's like there is this wall of that like closes in on you when you walk from room to room. They don't want you in. He didn't want you in there at all in any of those rooms.
I was gonna be brave enough to climb there.
Not me. Not me.
Chris decided he would go into the room to set up a static camera to find out exactly what or who continues to haunt those corridors.
Howard Hughes, the spirit that was known as Howard Hughes, are you occupying this building?
Okay, I'm definitely feeling the energy start to change in this room.
I need to know for sure this is you. This could be some other spirit pretending to be Howard Hughes.
As Chris attempts to contact Howard Hughes, the static camera picks up 3 anomalies, or orbs. It is believed by some that orbs are the reflections of entities or spirits reflected by camera flash. Could these lights be a sign from Hughes himself?
I don't feel I can say for sure in any way that there's a spirit here of Howard Hughes. But there's some type of strong spirit here that doesn't want us here.
As the sun rose in California, I arranged to meet Chris to discuss last night's events.
When that EMF detector went off, the sound, I had the camera in one hand, I had the EMF detector in another hand.
You couldn't even just knocked it slightly.
It was on this side, the inside. I've never had my hands together at any time whatsoever. And it didn't happen later when I put it down, so it's not a fault with the device.
I was more scared when we drove up to the office of Howard Hughes. I thought it was quite amazing that you both knew which was the good side and which was the bad side of the building.
Every room was changing. There was a different emotion, a different feeling. Until I got to that one room, I could not go into that particular point because it was so strong. A different feeling. Until I got to that one room, I could not go into that particular point because it was so strong. But you know, I went back there into that room later because I had to face it. I had to find out what it was, and I didn't feel the same type of energy as I did earlier. But I sat down there with the camera, filmed, and I don't think that Howard Hughes' spirit's there.
Our time in California had ended. We had searched for Howard Hughes in the one place he almost certainly spent most of his time. If we couldn't find his spirits in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, then maybe the odds would be increased amongst the bright lights of Nevada and the areas surrounding Las Vegas. Attracted by the power and money of the casinos, Howard Hughes was ready to start a new chapter in his life.
He said, I'm sick and tired of being a small fish in the growing pond of Southern California. I want to be the big fish in a small pond of Las Vegas.
Though Hughes came here hoping to increase his huge fortune, ultimately it was a place where his developing insanity eventually took hold.
With the progression of time, there is no doubt in my mind that Mr. Hughes became very, very sick, both physiologically and mentally.
But Hughes's passion for flying still held strong, and he continued to push his planes to the limit, even to the extent of endangering his life.
He was experimenting with an amphibious aircraft called the Sikorsky S03, and the largest body of water anywhere was Lake Mead at that time. And in May 1943, he crashed. Killed 2 people, injured him quite severely. So rather than recuperate in a hospital, he chose to recuperate at the Boulder Dam Hotel. So he took a suite of rooms on the top floor for several months.
Situated 20 miles south of Las Vegas, the Boulder Dam Hotel was off the beaten track. Perfect, then, for those stars who wanted to spend some time out of the limelight.
The hotel, in many ways, has been described almost as a living thing. And it developed a reputation as having a curse because so many people who were involved with buying it came to a very bad end.
The hotel is now also a museum, and I had arranged for us to meet up with its curator, Dennis McBride, to find out if Howard Hughes could be seeking a quieter afterlife in this cursed hotel.
We had a really interesting manifestation here in the theater of the museum a few years ago.
Did you see it?
I didn't see it. That's the strange thing about it. The woman who works the desk came in early one day. I wasn't at work yet. She saw somebody walk across this room from one side to the other. She assumed it was me. Then I came in to work about an hour later, and she realized that what she saw walk across this room wasn't me. What she saw walk across this room wasn't a living person. This is where I work. And
this is your office?
Yeah, right in this very spot that I'm standing now is where I saw my manifestation.
You actually saw something?
I did. It was shortly after I had set up down here, and I began to smell cigarette smoke. So I turned around from my work and saw standing here a man. He was dressed in black trousers and a white shirt, open a little bit, little black mustache. And it was only a little bit later that I kind of went like this and said, you know, I'm not alone down here.
There certainly seemed to be a lot of paranormal activity at the hotel, but could any of it be attributed to the ghost of Howard Hughes? Chris wanted to start the investigation in the basement. He left me alone upstairs in the cinema room.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the corridor. A lot of people have picked up anxiety, certain energies, as well as people have gone with dowsing rods, and they've picked up energy there. It's been confirmed. So, I'm going to head towards it.
Is there anyone here with me?
Oh boy, look at that. Did you see that cross? Show me where the energy spot is. Show me where it is. Watch this. Where is it? It's crossing right here again. Just there's some form of energy that is right here that is making it cross.
There's quite a lot of creaking. I'm really trying to be brave, but I really don't like being up here on my own in the dark.
Chris was getting strong results in the basement, and I was beginning to feel increasingly unnerved in the cinema room. Could this be Howard Hughes attempting to make contact? I asked Chris to come and join me.
Is there anybody else here with Gail and I besides the crew? Any spirit that walks this pathway? Can you speak to us and tell us who you are? I'm sensing that there is somebody here. Will you come forward, please?
I'm getting really hot now.
Okay. Is there a spirit that walks across this room from one wall to the next that believes that this hotel is still here, that they still live here? Can you please show yourself?
Howard Hughes came to the Boulder Dam Hotel to recuperate after crashing his experimental plane in Lake Mead. He spent several months here. But so far, we hadn't come across any evidence indicating that Hughes had returned to this place after his death.
Now this is the office where Dennis said he saw a figure.
Yeah, right over here.
1998, so it's quite a while ago. But if you see something once...
You might see it again.
Exactly.
Ooh. Goes my face, smiling. Yeah, there's residual energy here. For some reason I see him wearing a hat, I see the mustache. The hat had the little rope with the tie on it.
How do you know it's the same person that Dennis was talking about?
Because that's what I'm getting standing right here.
But how do you know it's the same person?
Well, I don't know who else it would be.
Well, I'm sure lots of people have been in this room. It's very difficult for me to understand.
Right.
If it's just your thoughts, I could think of something right now. I could think of a woman in a white dress with...
Well, let me tell you, okay, where does it come from? We don't specifically
That's all I'm
know.
asking.
But what we believe is that it comes from the spiritual world. It comes from our soul, comes from our spirit of complete knowledge. Let me give you an example. You have a bunch of fish that swim together, and they all turn left, they all turn right. There's nothing physical in them that we have found out that causes them to do that. It's a form of non-local communication, which means they're communicating from a distance. I'm communicating from a distance, which is considered non-local communication. We don't know exactly how it works, but it does work. Why are you shaking your head?
I just don't believe any of it. Do you know what the question was asked you? How do you know it's that man? And you've gone to the behavioural pattern of fish.
Because I'm telling you how my communication is. It'd be so much easier if she saw something. You know, if she actually saw a full-blown apparition, I don't think she'd really question anything else. But we're dealing with something that, in a lot of ways, it really can't be explained because it just happens and we don't fully understand it.
My questioning had annoyed Chris, and I felt that the change in atmosphere was affecting the search. So I ended the investigation.
The disappointing thing was that I didn't make any real direct contact with any spirits that I really sensed that there was any ghosts that were around. But for some reason, that residue or that energy that's there, I just don't understand it. I can't explain it.
I decided to switch our investigation to the Nevada desert in the hope that we may appeal to Hughes' romantic side. Goldfields was a famous gold town that Hughes is alleged to have visited during his honeymoon. It is also said to contain a huge amount of paranormal energy, including one of only 7 worldwide portals to the other side. Could Hughes' spirit have found peace in this notorious ghost town?
It was a large, bustling place. Everywhere you looked, on every 30-foot lot, there was some kind of an abode.
Goldfields was the largest city in Nevada until 1923, when a fire destroyed 54 city blocks. The town never recovered, despite the majority of the gold supposedly never being found. Some believe that the gold is still out there.
Don't tell me the gold is gone. It is still here. I believe it. My husband believes it, but after 20 years, all he's gotten is the shaft.
Howard Hughes had many mines in the Goldfield area, and when checking on them, he would stay in the town's finest establishments, one of which is the Goldfields Hotel.
This was probably one of the finest grand hotels west of the Mississippi when it opened.
And they said it was better than anything New York ever had to offer.
I believe that this is a place that Howard Hughes would come because of the action. This was the center of attraction of Goldfield. And Howard Hughes liked to be in the center of attraction.
Believe it or not, this used to be quite a major town, but now there's only 200 people living here. And this, the Goldfields Hotel, was the biggest hotel, and now it's completely derelict, apart from a few ghosts, allegedly.
We like haunted places.
Yeah. Should we have a look?
Yeah, let's go.
Hello.
Hi, Virginia.
Welcome to the Goldfield Hotel. Chris, nice to meet you.
Gail, pleased to meet you. How are you?
She was telling me this place is haunted.
Yes, it is. It's very haunted.
Are there areas of the hotel that are more active than others?
To me, there are. I have quite a few rooms here that things have happened to me in. I'd like to show you a room upstairs if you'd like.
Please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
We're going down here to this far room. This is my favorite room. This is an energy room for me, and this is what psychics tell me is a pass-through to other worlds,
Like a
other
vortex or
lives.
dimensions?
Yeah, kind of like a vortex. A portal? Yeah, a portal. Several of them have said portal. If you will stand here, close your eyes, and walk straight to the window, please, and tell me what you feel.
Talk about disoriented. Felt like I was passing through something. I feel that.
That is where they come and go. Perhaps Howard Hughes, who knows?
As the sun set over the Nevada desert, we began our investigation.
Where are we going?
Okay.
Let's walk around.
Chris and I were eager to explore the second floor of the Goldfields Hotel, where the alleged portal exists.
Okay, this is the floor I feel stuff.
What do you feel?
I feel a lot more energy circulating through my body, in my elbows and in my hands.
There's dead birds in here.
Is there anybody else up here besides us? If there is, please give us a sign. Can you make contact with us? Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
What was it?
Did you guys hear that? Yeah.
What was it?
It was a knock.
What room?
Came from down here.
Don't leave me.
Do you mind that we're up here? Knock 1 for yes, 2 for no. Can you give us a sign that you're here?
Just as Chris asked for confirmation, he picked up this on his digital recorder.
Can you give us a sign that you're here?
It seemed unexplainable events were unfolding, but I wanted more tangible proof. In the past, Chris has shown me photos that he claimed showed orbs or spirit energy. I had always doubted this as evidence and needed him to explain fully what he was finding.
You're saying that's dust, but that looks very similar to the orb pictures you showed me.
It does look very similar to it, but here's the thing, okay? This, what you're seeing here, is not representing the dust. It's representing the light that is flashing off, okay? Because there's an object there that it's bouncing off of. Sometimes you can get an anomaly that is there that the eye cannot see, okay? But when the light bounces off of it, it creates an orb that looks similar to this, but it is different than this if you really analyze it.
90% of the ones you've shown me before in other investigations just look like that.
Dust is not going to glow, all right? It's just going to cast off. What I'm telling you is we're looking at the form of the light bouncing off of it. If something is there, what can happen is the light can bounce off of it and it can come back.
We've gone through this conversation.
It can be glowing. But you understand what I'm saying, the difference between one and the other. Do you agree with me that there is a difference?
Sometimes you've got pictures of different,
Okay.
sometimes you haven't.
But sometimes I do, and that's the
I'd
thing
say
we have to look
90% we've got pictures of dust.
But then if we have, let's just say there was 90%, just to appease you, we still have that 10% to look at that is unexplainable.
Or it could be explainable. It could be bigger dust, or it could be spider webs glistening or something.
No, spider webs glistening, I can show that too. It's stringy. It doesn't look anything like orbs. See, you haven't done your research. We can't see dust. I mean, we can see dust, but what happens is when this flash hits it, it creates a spectrum on it, all right? Does that mean that every time we see that spectrum that it's a piece of dust? No, it doesn't. So we can't have that mentality, and that's the problem with skeptics, is they'll say, well, it must be this or it might be that. They have to classify it in a box. I can't
It was getting tense at the Goldfields Hotel.
Is there anybody up here?
Can't go out. It's coming out. Wait. Why is he doing that? Going by itself. Please come forward.
And the night ahead was going to prove to be eventful. Howard Hughes has been described as an original American. He was the richest man of his time, and so far, in our search for his spirit, there have been unexplained events.
The volume just went down on this thing. Like someone turned the volume down. I should constantly be hearing this?
Like it becomes suffocating around you.
But Hughes has kept himself well out of reach.
Did you hear that?
What was it?
It was a knock.
We had come to the Goldfields Hotel, Nevada. One of the 7 portals that link this world with the next is said to exist there, and we hoped that Howard Hughes would use this to contact us.
There's supposed to be ghosts of Indians up here. Is there anybody up here, apart from myself? Could you make a noise? Or show yourself?
Hello? Is there anybody down here? Ooh, look at this. Oh, look at this. The elevator's all flooded. That is gross. That's pretty freaky. I mean, it's like blood, doesn't it?
I hate being in the dark on my own. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Someone or something is buried down here. I do not like standing there. I do not like standing there.
Oh, somebody touched my hair. Oh, why do I care? Hello? Is there anybody up here? Apart from me? How did I get out? I can't remember how to get out. Where's the stairs?
Hey, Gail, how you getting on? Everything okay?
Yes, I'm fine. You just gave me a fright of my life.
I figured that would happen when you're trying to concentrate.
Have you got anything?
Another 10 more minutes and we'll be down on the main floor.
And start getting together for a seance, okay?
Hey, I'll be very brave up here.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
John, my voice. You will trust me.
Whilst everyone is getting ready for the seance, the camera that's still filming in the basement begins to behave abnormally.
Go, camera! Yep. Your camera's not working? I can't see. Why is it doing that? It's going by itself. Did you set it like that? Okay, right now we have got a camera going off by itself. It is so cold in here. Speak to me so I can record your voice on this tape player. Speak to me now.
We can't make out the whole message, but Chris picked up this EVP on his digital recorder.
Is that all you can do? Is a camera? Just make a camera go off and on?
Chris attempts to antagonize the spirit into doing something else.
Oh, dude. Temperature just dropped. You feel that? You feel it? My legs. My legs. Yeah, the legs first. It's still doing it.
The paranormal activity at the Goldfields Hotel was definitely beginning to intensify. It was obvious that someone or something was attempting to make contact. Could the spirits be using the portal to arrive at Goldfields? And could Hughes be here also? I hope that a seance would provide us with some answers. Joining us was Virginia Ridgway, the Goldfield historian, along with the Nevada Ghost and Hauntings Research Society, and Janice Oberding, who was overseeing the event as a parapsychologist.
I think Chris is a very gifted sensitive. He's a very gifted medium, and he channels very well. Sometimes when you get a group of people and everybody wants to believe and does believe this is one of the most haunted places in Nevada, so when we come to this place, naturally, they expect they're going to have something happen.
Everybody think of Howard Hughes. Howard, we would like to talk to you. Please come forward. If anybody in the group feels anything or sees any images and would like to share them with the group, feel free to do so.
I'm very sad.
What is the sadness that this is caused by?
I lost my daughter.
Virginia, can you hear me?
I can't talk.
Why?
I can hardly breathe.
Oh.
I just can't breathe.
Ask them if they want to speak through you.
What do you want? How can I speak for you? He killed my baby. Oh.
Is this what keeps you here? The loss of your child?
I need my little girl. I need my baby.
Think right now of looking for the light, because in the light is your child. There you will find love, and you will find your child waiting for you now. Go now. Let's open the circle again. See if we can contact Howard Hughes. We ask a messenger to come forward, or Howard Hughes to come forward, to answer our questions about this soul. Friends.
What is it you ask of him? The fame and money he had became too much. His soul battled with that. And instead of listening to his soul and heart, he worked too hard and forgot about what his destiny was. This is what happened to Howard. He lost control. His body took over until his soul no longer could survive in the body. Now we have to heal his soul.
As soon as the seance was over and they asked me how I felt and what happened, I don't know what happened. I remember my left arm shaking, and then I remember feeling really tired.
I couldn't say who it was. That's the first experience I've had with a female coming through, and I couldn't stop the tears. It was just so sad.
And I think because everybody in there believed, before they even sat down, they believed that they were going to have some spirit activity. I think that helped somewhat.
Our night at the Goldfield Hotel had proved to be an interesting experience for everyone. But our journey into finding the spirit of Howard Hughes had, for me, been inconclusive.
So we went to a lot of unique places for Howard Hughes, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Did you have a favourite?
I would say the Playa Vista Studios was very interesting because to me that was the darkest place we went to.
When we went to the offices, the thing that amazed me was both you and Karen picked up exactly the good side of the building, like the side of the building where he actually enjoyed being, and the bad side, where he was going a bit crazy and locked himself in the back. You both picked that up without even knowing.
It was like two parts of Howard Hughes, two parts to his psyche.
And the Boulder Dam Hotel?
Very interesting because that basement to me is probably one of the most energetic locations I've ever been at. But we got to talk about the most historical place we went to, though.
Goldfield.
Goldfield Hotel.
That was a great location.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was like right out of the Old West, you know?
Mm.
But what'd you think about the seance?
Well, there was a lot of information getting passed around that seance.
You know, that spirit came through and basically told us that, you know, Howard went through a very traumatic life, and sometimes the spirit has to be healed and has to go through a process before it can advance to another level, from what they say.
We obviously haven't contacted Howard Hughes himself, but do you think he's been trying to give us little snippets of information?
Just like pieces of a puzzle, but we never got the complete puzzle.
I would have loved to have met Howard Hughes.
I would have liked to have met him. He was a very intelligent man, but he was also a little crazy in the head.